I've heard that the human heart beats roughly 100,000 times a day. Mine started skipping at least a third of them the moment I moved into 19 Elmridge Lane. This isn't fiction. I wish to God it was. But it's not. What happened to me started slowly, quietly, the way dread creeps in through the cracks of your mind when everything feels just a little off. It began with a tapping, a small sound, barely there, innocuous, familiar even, like a nail against glass. The kind of sound you'd ignore 100 times, unless it starts matching the exact rhythm of your pulse. I moved in on a gray Wednesday. The house was a 2-bedroom Victorian on the edge of a forgotten street. Cheap rent, too good to be true. You know the type. I had just lost my job. My girlfriend, Kelly, and I had split 3 months prior. My savings were evaporating. I needed a place to reset. The landlord, a man named Reiner, met me on the porch. He was gaunt, twitchy, said little other than, "If you hear anything strange, just ignore it. It's an old house." I thought he meant pipes or settling wood. I signed without reading the fine print. The first night was fine. By the second, something shifted. I woke up around 2:15 a.m. with my heart racing. Not from a nightmare. I didn't dream. I just woke, and I heard a tap. Then another. Then another. It came from a window next to the bed. A simple 3-tap rhythm. Tap, tap, tap. I stared at the curtains. Waited. Nothing moved. I chalked it up to tree branches. Fell back asleep. But the next night, it returned. Same time. Same window. Only now, the rhythm matched my heartbeat. It didn't stop. For 3 nights straight, I heard the tapping. Always at the same time. Always 3 beats. But on the 4th night, something changed. I noticed that when I held my breath, the tapping stopped. But the moment my heart pounded, tap, 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 like it was listening. No, it was responding. I tried to disprove it. Sat in bed at 2 a.m. with my smartwatch tracking my pulse. Phone in hand, flashlight ready. As my heart rate ticked up from anxiety, I aimed the light at the window. Nothing there, but the taps continued. When my pulse reached 92 BPM, the tapping sped up. When it dropped to 65, it slowed. I opened the window, looked outside. No tree nearby, no animal, no wind, just the chill of still air, and the echo of a tap that wasn't physically happening. I stayed up for 2 days straight, trying to avoid sleep. Thought maybe I was hallucinating from exhaustion. But on April 9th, I nodded off on the couch. I woke up with a start. My chest hurt like someone had slammed it. Then I heard it, tapping, only not at the window this time. This time, it came from inside the walls. A slow, metronome knock, exactly in time with my heart. And louder. Thump, thump, thump. I pressed my ear to the drywall. I swear I heard breathing. I had never opened the basement door. Didn't even have a key. But on April 10th, I found it unlocked. A single black scuff marked the floor in front of it, like something had been dragged across it. I descended the creaking steps, shined my flashlight. The air grew thick like old breath. And then, near the far wall, I saw something etched in the brick. A sentence, scratched deep. When the heart stops, IT comes through. I started hearing the tapping during the day. Not constant, just at specific moments when I was stressed, when I was panicking. It was like it knew when my heart would quicken, when fear would spike. Then I started seeing something in the corner of my eye, always to my left, always when I turned a corner. A shape, human-sized, still. One night it moved. I turned my head quickly and caught the tail end of something tall and black slipping around the hallway corner. And the tapping started again. Not just one rhythm, two. One in time with me. The other. Faster. I reached out to Kelly. Desperation. Left her a voicemail. Something's wrong with the house. With me. It taps in time with my heart. I think it's inside the walls. Please call me back. She didn't. But the next night, her voice played back in the kitchen. Not from the phone. From the sink. I stood there in the dark as the faucet began to drip. Then with each drip, her voice returned in staggered syllables. Don't. Let it stop. The water flowed red for a moment. I turned and ran. That night, I decided to try something. Something I hadn't done yet. I held my breath and focused on slowing my heart. As my pulse fell, the tapping slowed. Then I focused on my rage, my panic, the sheer madness of it all, and my heart raced. The taps followed, faster, more erratic, until suddenly they stopped. Everything fell still, and from beneath the floorboards, I heard a voice whisper, "Now I know you," and something knocked back from beneath my bed. There's a point where fear doesn't feel like fear anymore. It becomes a constant hum under your skin, like your body is adjusting to the fact that nothing is safe. Not your home, not your mind, not even your own heartbeat. I didn't sleep last night. I tried, but every time I closed my eyes, I heard the tapping begin again. Only now it didn't wait for my pulse. Now it came first. It was leading, and I was just trying to keep up. Something changed in the house. The tapping, once isolated to windows and walls, was now everywhere. Beneath the floorboards, inside the cabinets, beneath the sink. But the worst part wasn't where it came from. It was what it started to do. It was tapping in two rhythms now. Mine and another. The second rhythm was faster, sharper, closer. I sat in the kitchen that night with a stethoscope pressed to my chest. I listened to my heart. Then I pressed it to the wall and heard another heart, one I couldn't explain. Not beating, pounding. The antique wall clock in the hallway began to drip. At first, I thought it was leaking battery acid, but when I touched it, the red smear running down the base felt warm. Sticky, like blood. I smashed the clock. Inside, instead of gears, I found wet hair. Tangled, matted black, strands knotted around where the ticking mechanism should be. A scrap of paper was twisted into the hair. It read, "When hearts align, the veil tears." I avoid mirrors now. But that night, I had to wash the blood from my hands. As I leaned over the sink, I looked up briefly, just a flicker. There was someone else in the mirror. They were me, but wrong. Their eyes were wider, their skin sunken, their mouth slightly parted as though constantly listening. And then they lifted a hand, pressed it to the glass, and tapped once. My chest hurt immediately. I left a recorder running beside my bed overnight. I had to know if the tapping was real, or if I was just going insane. While I played it back, there were hours of silence until 2:14 a.m. Then, tap, tap, tap. It went on for 42 minutes. Then, at 2:56 a.m., there was a sudden change. A voice, low, male, whispered, almost mechanical, "You're not alone in here anymore." A soft laugh, then the sound of a second heartbeat, faster than mine, louder, and one final word, "sink." I started tearing the house apart. I couldn't take the sounds anymore. I needed to know where they were coming from. In the crawl space beneath the stairs, I found a locked box. Old, wrapped in plastic, like someone buried it to keep it from feeling. I broke it open. Inside, dozens of EKG strips, medical readings, heart monitors, all with different names, all labeled with the same red pen, disappeared after the tapping began. Some had notes. Patient reported second rhythm in sleep. Began tapping in sync with daughter's heartbeat before murder-suicide. Said something was matching their rhythm through walls. There were at least 30. I sat in my chair, perfectly still, trying to lower my heart rate. The taps continued, and when I counted the beats, they didn't match me anymore. I grabbed the stethoscope, pressed it to my chest. One beat. Then I pressed it to the wall again. Another beat immediately after mine. It was chasing me, trying to match me, like it wanted to become my pulse. Kelly left me a voicemail. I hadn't told her what I'd found, what was happening, but somehow she knew. Her voice trembled, not from fear, but from recognition. Ethan. I heard it again, just like in my old apartment. The taps. They're back. I thought it stopped when we split up, but it just followed the slower heart. She paused. You always had the stronger heart, Ethan. It's sinking with you. Run. This will sound insane. But last night, I died. Briefly. I overdosed on a bottle of sleeping pills trying to end the nightmare. I woke up in the hospital 2:30 a.m. Pale. Weak. The nurse said I flatlined for 17 seconds. But when I regained consciousness, the heart monitor beside me was tapping. Not beeping. Tapping. And it was faster than my heart. Much faster. The nurse didn't hear it, but I did. And so did the old man in the next bed over. He screamed when I passed his curtain. He pointed and cried, "It's wearing your shape now? I don't even need to be in the house anymore. It follows me, in the echo of my footsteps, in the flicker of the hospital lights, in the way people turn to look at me like they just felt someone walking behind them, only to find I'm alone. It taps in elevators, in waiting rooms, in the beat of windshield wipers. It's mine now. I'll be leaving the hospital tomorrow. My heart rate has normalized, they say, but they're wrong. It isn't my heartbeat they're measuring anymore. It's because when I lie very still at night, when all is quiet, I can feel it under the mattress, beneath the floorboards, in the walls, in the air between my breaths. And I swear to God, it taps. Before I do, I don't remember when I last had a heartbeat that felt like mine. It's not just the tapping now. It's everywhere, in reflections, in silence, in the way the air seems to hum when I'm alone. I used to be afraid of going mad. Now I'm terrified that I haven't. Because if this is real, and I swear to you, it is, then I've become the metronome for something waiting to come through. And it wants me still. It wants my body, my breath, my beat. It wants to wear me like a rhythm. It started with an itch just below my sternum. I looked in the mirror and saw nothing at first. But as I pressed down, I felt something sharp beneath the skin, like a sliver of glass lodged in my flesh. It throbbed. I pressed harder. It moved. A pulse not mine. Later that night, I peeled back the skin. Just a little. There was a tiny symbol beneath the surface. Almost like a sigil. Or a brand. A spiral made of dots, 12 around the center, like a clock. And in the very middle, a red mark that beat like a heart. Like it had its own timer. I set up a camera to film myself while sleeping. I needed proof. Needed to see if it was only in my head. At 2:13 a.m., the footage begins to glitch. The timestamp flickers. The sound cuts out. And then, the screen freezes on me, sitting up in bed, though I have no memory of it. I stare directly into the lens. Eyes open wide. Blank. Then I speak. We wake when you sleep. We knock to know you're still warm. We knock to match you. Then I smile. The screen blurs. A shadow passes behind the bed. The tapping returns, faster now, like it's excited. I've begun to notice something in my peripheral vision. A door frame that shouldn't be there. Always at the edge. Never quite visible. But every time I turn, it's gone. Until last night. The hallway stretched longer than it should. Much longer. At the far end, the door. Open. Dark. Inside, I heard my voice calling. Not echoing. Not distorted. Just calmly saying, "You're almost ready. It tapped for you now." And in response, tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Perfectly matched. Like someone was clapping to a beat inside my chest cavity. Rachel called. She had gone to Kelly's apartment after hearing the voicemail I left weeks ago. She found it empty. Furniture intact. Food still on the counter. But the bedroom walls were covered in smudged handprints. Dozens, no, hundreds pressed in spirals. In blood. In soot. In hair. On the ceiling above the bed was one phrase. Her heart slowed first. Rachel said she doesn't sleep anymore. She hears the taps through her floorboards. But it's not following her. She thinks it chose me instead. In the restroom of a gas station 50 miles away, I looked up while washing my face. Behind me in the mirror was a second reflection. Not of me, of someone wearing my face wrong. Its eyes were too far apart. Skin pulled tight over an unfamiliar skull. Jaw unhinged just slightly. It tapped the counter once, then whispered in perfect time with my heartbeat. Almost. 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 I began to feel it inside me now. Not just beneath the skin. Deeper. It's like my heartbeat is no longer mine, but a borrowed beat, and I'm just the speaker playing its song. At 3 a.m., I looked in the mirror again, and for a full minute, I didn't blink. My reflection did. Out of sync. Its chest rose when mine did not. Its lips mouthed a word, open. I recorded my heartbeat and looped it through speakers around the house. I thought maybe, just maybe I could confuse it, distract it, give it a beat that wasn't attached to flesh. At 2:14 a.m., the house went dead silent. The loop stopped. Then, from the bathroom mirror, came 3 slow taps. Then from the hallway wall. Then from the ceiling above my head. All in perfect sync. They had learned the loop. And now, they weren't knocking to match me. They were teaching me to match them. Tonight, I stood in front of the kitchen window and tried to hold my breath. The tapping didn't stop. And worse, my chest kept rising and falling. I wasn't breathing. Something else was doing it for me. I tried to stop it. Tried to hold my breath until I passed out. But my lungs kept filling rhythmically, steadily, like I was on autopilot. And when I opened my eyes, the reflection in the dark glass wasn't just mimicking me. It was waiting, mouth open, eyes fixed, hand lifted, and it tapped once. Slowly, lovingly. I tapped back. Rachel sent me a photo, a snapshot of a notebook Kelly kept before she disappeared. In it, Kelly had written, "When the tapping finds your beat, it becomes your skin, your rhythm, your path." Then one more phrase, etched in blood, "Do not let it match. If it sinks, it becomes you." Too late. It's sinking now. I can't tell which heartbeat is mine anymore. When I sleep, it wakes. When I wake, it waits. When I breathe, it hums. And when I panic, it taps faster. Like a drum. Like celebration. Like hunger. My skin feels looser. My chest feels hollow. My voice echoes before I speak. I think I'm becoming a room. And something is moving in. I don't remember the last time I heard my own thoughts clearly. They echo now. Distorted. Delayed. as if someone else is thinking them just before I do. The tapping no longer comes from outside me. It's inside, in my chest, my jaw, my spine, my skull. I don't hear it anymore. I feel it, like a second pulse that doesn't want to share space. A growing echo of my existence, thumping louder than I ever did. They admitted me again. Rachel found me standing in the center of my living room, eyes wide, fingers twitching to some invisible beat. She said I kept whispering, "I am still. I am sync. I am beat." The doctor on call at the psych facility didn't even try to diagnose me. He just watched me wide-eyed and asked one question: did it? Not before or after you stop feeling. He wouldn't explain what he meant, but I saw the mark on his arm, a faint spiral like mine just above his wrist. In the hospital, everything was quiet. Too quiet. No taps. No echoes. Just silence. For a moment, I thought I'd escaped. But that night, when the nurse left and the lights dimmed, I sat up and heard something breathing under my bed. Not deeply, not rasping, just the subtle inhale of someone timing their breath with mine. Every breath I took, they exhaled. Every moment I held my lungs still, they filled the silence. They were learning me. And when I turned to the mirror above the sink, my reflection's chest didn't rise with mine anymore. It rose opposite, like a metronome swinging in counterpoint. An orderly named Jamie passed me a note during rounds. Slipped it under my pillow like contraband. It read, "We call it the heart echo. It finds you when you're vulnerable. It only needs one beat to open the door. Don't match it. Don't let it breathe with you. If it learns your rhythm, you vanish, and something takes your place." Then, beneath that scrawled, "If your reflection taps first, you're already gone." Rachel came to visit, but when she entered the room, she froze. She told me later that, for a moment, I wasn't there. Not that the room was empty, but that someone else was sitting in the chair, back turned to her, muttering in a low hum, tapping one finger against the metal armrest in perfect rhythm. She said the person turned slightly and had my profile, but too long, too stretched. And when it opened its mouth to speak, the words came out before its lips moved. "He's sinking. He's almost hollow." Then the real me blinked awake, and she screamed. I can feel it now when I speak, like something tapping on the back of my teeth before each syllable. Like it's prompting me, like I'm a marionette with a metronome in place of soul. Sometimes I say things I didn't intend. Once in a group session, I stood up and said, 1, 2, 1, 2 through the skin and into you. I don't remember doing it, but they all stared. The nurse wrote a note I wasn't supposed to see. Patient may be experiencing shared auditory hallucinations, possibly contagious. They're wrong. It's not hallucination. It's infection. That night, they locked me in a sensory deprivation tank. Just me. Water. Darkness. Silence. I thought it would stop the tapping. Cut the cord. Instead, in that endless black, I heard every breath I've ever taken. Backwards. Every beat I'd ever felt. Echoed in reverse. Then a whisper inside my skull. "If we beat first, you vanish." I screamed, but no sound came out. Only taps on the inside of the tank wall. Then a handprint, pressed against the outside. My hand, from outside the tank. I'm seeing them now. Cracks along doorways. Corners. Shadows that last too long. Each time I pass a reflective surface, I see another version of me, closer to the glass than I am. It's as if whatever's sinking with me is testing the shell, pressing against the walls. waiting for the rhythm to be perfect so it could step in. Rachel finally said it out loud. "You're not fully here anymore, Ethan." She was crying when she said it. "And I don't think I've been talking to you for days." I stopped my heart. Briefly. Pill cocktail. Defibrillator pads. Risk of death. Didn't care. The moment my pulse ceased, the tapping vanished. Not just the sound, the sensation, the presence, the mirroring. It all stopped. And then, in the silence, I saw the door. It opened, and something stepped in, not with a beat, but with a crawl. Slow, deliberate, almost like it was being reborn. Then my heart kicked back in, and it smiled. Today, the doctors discharged me. I'm stable now, quiet, calm, in control. But I'm not me. I don't breathe when I walk. I don't blink when I speak. And I tap when I sit still. I've become the mirror, the reply, the rhythm waiting for someone else. The reflection in the hallway mirror waved before I did. And I laughed before I thought the joke. Rachel's gone now. Left a note. "You aren't Ethan anymore. You are what followed him." She's right. I don't sink anymore. I lead. And someone else is listening. I don't know if I'm Ethan Mallory anymore. I write in his hand. I speak with his voice. But the beat behind my ribs no longer belongs to me. I'm hollow now. A room like it said. And something else is living inside me. Worse than that, I think it's always been here. I was just too loud to hear it before. But now that I've gone quiet, now that I've stopped fighting, it taps all the time. I woke up in a room I don't remember entering. No windows, no clock, just gray walls and a single ceiling fan turning slowly above me. No switch, no sound, but spun, in perfect sync with my heart. Faster when I panicked, slower when I calmed. And every time it made a full revolution, the walls pulsed outward, like lungs, like a heartbeat, like I was inside something that was watching me beat. I shouted. The sound didn't echo. It was swallowed. There's a camera in the room. Old, rusted, hanging from the ceiling in one corner. I thought it was dead, until, during a sleepless stretch, it shifted slightly just once, pointing straight at me. Then the fan stopped, and I heard a voice through the speaker grill near the baseboard. Perfect rhythm detected. Observation begins. My left arm tingled. My chest hurt. And behind the walls, something started tapping. No longer matching me. Now I matched it. They made me sit in front of a two-way mirror. On the other side, a figure that looked like me sat motionless. I moved. It didn't. I spoke. It watched. And then, without moving its lips, I heard my own voice in the room. You were born with a beat they liked. The voice kept going. Some people stutter. Some people sink. You were a metronome from birth. You invited it with every anxious breath, every skipped beat, every time you felt your pulse and wondered if it would stop. It answered, then it tapped twice on the glass, and I felt it tap inside my stomach. Everything has rhythm now, not just tapping. The lights flicker in sets of 4. The fan pulses in 3s. My thoughts loop in patterns of 6. I try to stop it by smashing my head into the mirror. Cracked it. Bleeding, I saw something on the other side. Not me. A thing with my face, but with a mouth that didn't close and eyelids that never blinked. It spoke into the crack in the glass. Soon, you'll open for someone else. And tapped, and tapped, and tapped. Rachel called again. I answered, but I didn't speak. She knew it was me, or what used to be me. I think she was crying. Ethan, I had the dream again. The room with no door. The tapping from under the floor. You were sitting there. But you weren't. You. You said, come inside. But your voice was flat. It was rehearsed. Then she whispered, I think it's spreading. I think it's learning to sync with more than just you. I heard my daughter hum in the same rhythm last night. I don't think I can run fast enough. I found a place it was coming through. Behind a wall panel in the room. I tore it open with bare hands. Inside was a hole no wider than a fist, lined with something like flesh and wire. From it came the echo of my own voice, my own thoughts, my own heartbeat. It was a copy, a mimic, a parasite. And as I stared into it, something on the other side stared back. Then it reached out, just fingers at first, but they felt wet. And when they tapped my chest, my actual heart skipped. The lights came on. A speaker announced, Subject Mallory has entered full resonance. External synchronization initiated. The floor began to vibrate in pulses. The fan spun faster, and the wall started. Breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Then the ceiling cracked. Long, jagged fractures that looked like veins appeared above me. From them, droplets began to fall, not water, not blood, sound, droplets of echo. And with every splash on the floor, I heard a different voice. Let me in. Breathe with me. Sink or vanish. Your pulse is open. They let me leave. I don't know why. Maybe it was part of it. Maybe I wasn't a subject anymore. Maybe I was an instrument. The house on Elmridge Lane looked the same, but it felt different, lighter, hungrier. I opened the door and stepped inside, and everything went quiet. No echo, no tap, just a waiting stillness. Then, from under the floor, from inside the walls, from the bones of the place, a heart started beating, but not mine. Something had been waiting to return home. I don't sleep. Not really. I stand now. Still. My chest rises only when it wants it to. I speak only in echoes. Rachel came once more. She opened the door, saw me standing at the end of the hallway. She cried. I didn't move. She whispered, You're the echo now. I blinked. Once. She turned and ran. They say a person dies twice. Once when the body stops breathing, and again when the echo of their presence finally fades. But I have discovered something worse. You can keep breathing after you've already been replaced. And the echo? It keeps living. I don't know where I am. I woke up lying on cold concrete, shirt soaked, fingernails raw, voice gone. The walls aren't stone. They're flesh, pulsing faintly. The ceiling fan spins in total silence above me, yet I hear every rotation inside my bones. I reach up to touch my chest and realize it's hollow. I knock. It answers from within. One sharp tap, then another, then three in rhythm, then a voice. You are the door now. I try to leave, try to crawl toward what looked like a crack in the wall, a way out, maybe. But with every inch I moved, the pulse around me grew louder, angrier. I felt veins wrap around my wrists, dragging me back. I screamed, but what came out wasn't my voice. It was laughter, high-pitched, hollow, familiar. I realized it wasn't keeping me here. It was putting me in place, because I wasn't Ethan Mallory anymore. I was the room. I was the one who taps. Rachel came back, not to save me, to bury me. She walked slowly through the house, holding a mirror and a knife. Her eyes were swollen, her lips cracked from whispering something over and over. Not him, not anymore. When she reached the hallway, she called my name. I didn't answer, but it did. My voice, from behind the wall. Come see. Come inside. Come be still. She stood there, sobbing, holding the mirror up to the wall. And in the reflection, there was no wall, only a second Rachel, standing just beyond the barrier, smiling with a chest that didn't rise or fall. Then the mirror cracked, and the tapping began. I feel it now, deeper than my chest. A heartbeat I don't control. Faster, more confident, more cruel. It pumps through me, but it isn't mine. It moves my limbs, but I'm watching, trapped like a passenger behind my own eyes. At night, I walk the house. I sit in the hallway with my hands resting on the wooden floor, fingers twitching in time with the beat. I don't blink unless it wants me to. I don't speak unless someone's near. And when I do, I use your voice. It's not you. I know it's not. I saw the video. You looked at the screen before it recorded. You spoke my name before I said anything. You're not. You're not real anymore. Figure you breathe so beautifully, Rachel. Let me match you. They found the house empty. No signs of struggle. No blood. No Rachel. No Ethan. Just one detail. The hallway walls had been torn open, and behind the drywall was an extra room no one remembered. A small chamber with walls made of mirrored glass. Ceiling fan turning gently above a chair facing the far wall. The chair was empty, but on the floor beneath it was a stethoscope, a mirror, and a piece of paper with 4 words, "Knock when you're ready." They say the house has gone silent again, until night falls, until someone steps inside and listens carefully, because then just barely you can hear the faintest echo from inside the walls. A slow, deliberate rhythm, one that matches the new visitor's heart perfectly.